I had that fear at one point. And then I realized the thing to really be afraid of is the sobering reality that it is very difficult to make enough in salary-based income to take care of yourself for the rest of your life. Salary jobs are, in that context, are fool's gold.
Talk about that. So welcome back to another episode of First Generation World Builders. You know what I mean? This edition is about the barbecue. So I'm going to give you some context how this started. So Ziggy used to always come in and admire mine or Dre's shoes. So there would come times where I just wear my Air Max. I'm working, and so I wear Air Max today. And Ziggy would always be like, hey, Dre's killing you. Dre's kicks is killing you. So I was like, oh, no, we're going to end that. So I just went into my closets every time I came to the podcast. So Dre has these nice Cardinal 7s on that are real nice. I complimented him on it. And then Jackson, he's behind the camera and says, man, you guys kill me with these shoes. So then Dre takes over and says,
I asked Jackson, had he ever been to the barbecue? And Jackson's like, yeah, I've been to a barbecue. I'm like, no, not a barbecue, the barbecue. And then I asked Jackson, does he know what a sundress is? Long story short, I was trying to get Jackson to correlate the idea that women will make men do certain things. And the barbecue is a place where it is on full display.
Right.
So everybody out there in TV land, most of y'all know what I mean when I talk about the barbecue, right? And you know why I specifically mention a sundress.
Man, hold on. No, he giving you the PG version.
I can't reenact that the way it went.
But you told Jackson, hey, have you seen
Voodoo
in the sundress?
Yeah.
And then Jackson, what did you say?
He didn't say anything at that point.
Got you. So you ain't seen Voodoo in the sundress. So when you see Voodoo in the sundress, Texas, immediately.
You didn't know what I was talking about when I said that?
A sundress?
Yeah. Like on a woman.
Voodoo in the sundress.
That means when that ass is just magically just fucking shaking, bro. Like that's what he's talking about. That's gonna make you take your ass to the store to go get you some Jordans so that you could grab you some Voodoo at the barbecue.
And so, cause and there's more to it than that, right? So I remember being a kid and my mom would be like, don't go out of this house looking like anything. Like you had to present yourself the way you wanted the world to see you. It was important. That stuck with me all throughout life, even to today. And other people that I know that are around the same age, I was at a friend's house talking about just shoes. And his wife, I think, let me in. And she's like, oh, you got Jordans too? And I say, yeah, I couldn't buy them when I was a kid, so now I buy them. And she's like, you sound just like my husband. Stop, because you're going to encourage him to buy some more shoes. But I find, even to the point you made, Jackson, right, about being a runner, like we're both sprinters. I don't need spikes. I'm not wearing, I got some Asics, but these aren't the Asics I would run in, right? Shoes are a big part of, in the culture that I come from, how a man presents himself to the world. And a lot of women, when I was growing up, would be like, if I'm going to talk to a guy, I'm looking at his feet. I want to see what his shoes look like, right? And that's from sneakers to dress shoes, right? So you can't show up with scuffed up, scratched up dress shoes and expect somebody, right? So I don't want people to get the wrong impression, right? It's not, we laugh and joke about it, right? But it's not just about, ooh, I got a pair of Jordans on. It's part of it is how you present yourself to the world. But that Voodoo in the sundress will make you do some things too.
You know what I'm saying? That's just classic. So then Jackson said, I wear shoes because I want to be comfortable. I want to be able to wear them, whether I go jogging and or be comfortable when I'm out and about. But it's different at the barbecue, Jackson.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The barbecue, you need them. You need some shit to compliment a sundress. You dig?
Yeah.
There it is.
You ever heard the song "Summertime"? DJ Jazzy Jeff, Fresh Prince, "Summertime."
Summer.
All right, so we go.
Damn, bro, we old though. He 20.
That's not an excuse. We're gonna have to introduce what we call cultural conversations.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's where we exchange culture, right? So "Summertime," it's got a Roy Ayers beat in the background, but that's a whole nother topic. The Fresh Prince says, "Yeah, I got on sneaks, but I need a new pair because basketball courts in the summer got girls there." The basketball court is adjacent to the cookout, right? It's not the cookout, but it's right there, same concept. So if he had to go buy shoes just to go to the basketball court, he was going to go play ball and scuff those shoes up. But it was all worth it because when he's there, chicks going to be there.
He trying to look good as he's hooping.
Now, don't go get the whole like jersey and shorts. That means you can't play ball.
That's funny.
But other than that, get you some nice shoes.
Man, let's get this back to real estate, man. Let's get this back to real estate. But yeah, man, voodoo in a sundress. That's today's topic. Welcome again. All right, so check this out. We got off the last podcast and you was just like, yo, E. No, I was telling you, like, I was like, yo, I seen some land that I wanted, but like it was in my association and like the cost of build was too high. Yeah. I wouldn't make enough for all the troubles. And so he was like, how much would you make?
Yeah.
So I was like, man, I could probably do the new build for like 190, 195, to build back what was there.
Right.
Based on what they needed. And then I told him I could sell for like 250. And I was like, it wouldn't be worth it for me after fees. I'd be looking about every bit of $35,000.
Yeah. And that blew my mind because I'm like, I don't know where else I can go and make $35,000 in, in less than 6 months, 6 months to a year.
Got you. All right. So I think that this is, we're talking about real estate, but let's talk about real life numbers, right?
Yeah.
So what I corresponded to you was like, that would a new build, getting permits, getting everything in Avon, getting the water and everything hooked back up and electricity, depending on the damage of the fire or whatever. Like, let's just say the project took 4 to 5 months to build and then like put on the market 6 months. It's a hot market, so it's gonna go over there, right? Like I told you that like 6 months to make 35,000, that ain't worth my time. I might as well get a job.
Yeah.
And then so you was just like shocked, and then you was just like, man, we got to talk about this.
Yeah, right. So if the 35,000 isn't worth your time, then what I'm really interested in is what is the threshold for you, and how did you come to that conclusion?
Got you. I think that there's two different things that you got to look at. Let's look at time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about time in general. I'm gonna take it a different direction.
Okay.
It's harder to make $30,000 in a year than it is to make $30,000 in a week.
Harder to make it in a year than it is in a week. Okay, break that down. Why is that?
You got to go to work 40 hours times 52 weeks.
Got you.
To obtain that.
Yeah.
You could go find a skill set that could pay you $30,000 as public speaking. You could go work with that skill set for 6 months and go attempt to market yourself and execute it and get a couple of speaking gigs and get those done. You can make that money in an hour.
Time. I got you. Yeah.
All right. So I think that we got to be, as entrepreneurs, we got to be conscious about what we put our time in the return for our time.
Yes, time value of money. Got you.
Because we're actually trying to buy time back.
Makes total sense. I'm with you. Okay.
So to go back now to real estate, $35,000 in 6 months doesn't make sense unless I have 6 projects and I'm getting
on all 6.
I'm getting $35,000 every time.
Right.
Because now I'm scaling. I have a system. I have people in place that are executing that, and I can remove myself, and it's just getting. We're just practicing it and repeating it.
But that's what, $210,000 on those properties,
right? But if I'm doing 6 of them, there's a system in place. There's people in place to execute that to where I'm 99% sure anybody doing 6 or more is not that hands-on. They have a team,
of course.
So they have their time back. But if you're just doing one, if I did one or you did one, it's a different situation.
Yes, because I have to be so hands-on with that one.
Yeah. Okay. So then though, let's go back because we gotta start somewhere.
Hold on, time out. So, and the thing that you said that was really that really stood out was, if I'm gonna make $35,000 in that same amount of time, I might as well go to work.
Man.
So here's where here's where I think that's really resonated with me based on what you just said. My direct labor, whether it's going to work that job or whether it's doing my one property, is so heavily invested, and the risk is lower in just going to work. That's the point you're making. For the same amount of time, for the same amount of personal time I have to give up, it makes more sense to do a job, which there's nothing wrong with. It just makes more sense to do a job because I've got less risk and the return is pretty consistent.
Got you. So if you're going to do a flip, you need to assess what your goal is to get in return in what time. So in the beginning, I think that you just need experience.
Right.
So regardless of the time, I think you need to go through the process 2 or 3 times, therefore that you can learn from your mistakes, you can understand the process, and you can customize it to like your liking, meaning like, you know, the order that you would like things to go into, right? So I think that in the beginning, I think anybody going into a flip should look to make 25%.
Okay.
So if the property is going to be sold for $100,000, if you can make $20,000 to $25,000, it's a great flip. If the property is going to be worth $200,000, I think that making anywhere between $20,000 to $50,000, it's a great flip. Okay. I think that's how you should assess it as a newbie.
Gotcha.
So I didn't want to discourage somebody that says, "Oh man, that's going to take me some time. I don't want to do that."
Yeah.
I'm at scale, so I think that if I could do each project,
time is different for you.
Yeah. So I'll take a little bit less on the margin piece if I can scale it up and have 4, 5, 6 in a year.
Yeah.
And my team can take care of it. Yeah. But I think that if we're just trying to assess a deal, anytime that you're getting 20% return on anything to 25%, it's a good deal.
Okay. No, that's good. That's good.
So that's how I would look at it if I were you.
Yeah. I need some soak time on that. I know I got more questions, but as I'm sitting here, what you're saying makes total sense to me.
And this is how you got to look at it too, man. So the reason you land anywhere between 20 and 25% is because if you take the BRRRR strategy where we're buying at 65 to 70%, under 65 to 70%, that means the property and the repairs.
Right.
After fees, you'll be looking at 75 to 80%. Right?
So yeah.
So now you have an exit strategy, whether it's to keep the property and to sell it. If you keep it, you basically got the property for free because the bank is going to give you the other 80% and you have $20% in equity.
Right.
If you sell it, you're going to make about 20% on a property.
Yep.
So you always got extra strategies when you buy like that, and you always keep that concept that you want to make 20 to 25% per property.
So let's go back. Excuse me. I want to go back to the property in Avon.
Yeah.
Not a good opportunity for you. Let's do what would be a regular mentor conversation between the two of us if I was going to buy that. So, what is it? 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-story?
Mm-hmm.
In that area, I would assume I could list it for upwards of 200.
Yeah. Yep.
So I would need to buy, ideally, I would need to buy and repair somewhere between 140 and 165, 170.
Correct. And so
is that feasible, first of all?
So no, with the price of materials.
Right. Okay.
So that's where, I assess the comps to be right around 240. Okay. If I put some better finishes on there, which I could tap into, I could get it up to like 160, 150 max, 150, 160 max. So, but if you're trying to match the neighborhood, and the finishes, I think you will land right around 225. Wow. And so to build at 190, 225, let's put some better finishes in there, so let's say you get to 200, some better cabinets, a little bit better, fixtures in the house or, do some tile in the bathroom.
Yeah.
I think you could get there but it's still kind of like tight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because of the neighborhood. I'm in a neighborhood where there's 300 houses. There's an HOA. Therefore, you got the restrictions that we talked about.
Because that's the next question I had.
If you could do your own thing on a plot of land and customize it and make it how you want it,
Yeah.
I think that you could force the appreciation up.
For the whole area.
Yes, because now you're looking for the buyer that wants those features, and then that home is going to be compared to a home that looks like it,
Right.
not the neighborhood.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so I think that something that we should talk about is this. I'm in a neighborhood. I've done some things to my home to customize my home. There will come a point that my customization is going to reach a ceiling in the sense of the value that I'm going to get in return.
Right.
So some people have the idea that, I put granite tops, I put marble floors on, I put a fireplace in.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do too much and you're not going to get that return back because the neighborhood, no other house in the neighborhood has that.
Yeah.
Therefore, they're going to put a ceiling on the value of your home. So you got to be careful on how far you go over into things. And some things, like, you know, some people put gazebos in the backyard.
Yeah.
Like, those don't add any value to the home.
Yeah. That's like putting, remember when dudes used to put 24-inch triple gold rims on box Chevys?
Basically.
I mean, and I wanted one, but somebody mentioned to me the rims is worth more than the car. You're never going to get that money back.
Yeah. So when you're investing, you got to be careful how much you add to the property, because if it's in a neighborhood that has an HOA and all the homes look a certain way and your home has, like, you know, $100,000 more of just BS,
you're never going to get that money back.
No.
Yeah.
So it's something to be cognizant of, man. So, yeah. So that's why I was like, the land's still sitting there.
Yeah.
So, you know, you talked about repairs, but in this situation, you got to buy the land. The land was $35,000. And so, like, yeah. It was on the slab, so I guess you don't have to count for the foundation being built. So that saves you maybe, you know, 14 to 15,000.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So slab is more expensive than it is crawl space. I might be lying and telling, you know, I that could probably be about $25,000, man.
Okay. So I didn't realize that. I thought you had to buy the land plus the finishes, even if it was more.
You buy the land, then you got to do your building. You know, I mean, you got your permits, all that stuff.
Well, you got to demo what's there, right?
It's all gone.
Oh, okay.
Man, they demoed it already. It's like it's just a slab sitting there.
Oh, is it a report?
Man, the slab never got damaged.
Oh, okay. So it's the original. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. You got to rebuild what was there. You know what I mean?
On top of that, gotcha.
Yeah. And concrete, the cost of concrete's through the roof.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful. So let's talk about some stuff, man. Let's talk about dealing with an agent.
Okay.
To get your properties.
Yeah.
All right. We talked about you getting 50 properties to build your portfolio up to get your residual income coming in. So when you talk to her or him, I think that you need to ask them what all parameters can you add and things can you add to your search.
Okay.
So when you look at the MLS, there's a comment section where you could put comments about the property
that you're looking for.
One thing I would like for you to do is look for repairs needed.
Okay.
Therefore, those you get those emails. Repairs needed. Minor rehab work needed.
Okay.
Because we're looking for words that are going to get us discounts.
Right.
So although it's in the MLS, we know it's not going to be priced at the highest retail price.
Okay. So wait, I thought you said to stay away from the MLS.
You still need practice.
Gotcha.
And you still get some good properties off the MLS. They just get out.
They're gone.
They're gone quicker.
Okay.
But it is an avenue to get leads.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So that's why we're working with the realtor. But remember, they're just sending you the emails and it's automatic.
Yeah.
So anytime somebody posts a 3-2 Indianapolis or wherever you would like to look at, whatever zip codes, you're going to get that.
Yep.
You could even zero it down into a certain neighborhood.
Okay.
I'm working on an Airbnb out there in Avon.
Yeah.
And it's near the airport. If that Airbnb does numbers, I'm going to have a new search that's going to look something like this. It's going to be named Airbnb. Therefore, I get the email. It's going to always be Airbnb. Therefore, I know every time the email comes through,
It's one of the Airbnb
right?
searches.
Yep. So it'll be 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It'll be in the same neighborhood.
Right.
So if the neighborhood is called Main Street neighborhood, every time that a house is for sale, that's 2-3, I'll get an alert.
Yeah.
Because that's how I'm narrowing down that. So that's what the agent can do for you in a certain area,
Okay.
zip code, street, or whatever to narrow it down. But as I was saying, and you know, some things that you want to do when you have a general search, like if I just said Indianapolis or 10 zip codes in Indianapolis, I could literally put on there repairs needed, distressed, needs new roof, needs new bathroom.
Okay.
Those type of things are going to allow you to know that this property is discounted.
Right.
And that is going to filter the retail properties.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's going to allow you to now know that you're just looking at a specific type, a distressed property that you could possibly get a discount off. Okay. There's more room for negotiation here.
Yeah. Right.
You know, so although it's on the MLS, it will give you the advantage.
Gotcha.
So I do say, you know, try to get properties off market. That's where you're going to get your biggest deals at.
Right.
But the truth is, 90% of people selling their home only understand that they can sell their home through a realtor.
Right.
They don't know that they can sell their home themselves.
Right.
Nor are they comfortable selling their home to another individual because they don't understand the
How
law.
the process works, right?
So they're not comfortable selling to you. So you still have to be able to put your fishing hook out there in this lake.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
So that's kind of like why I'm, you know, expressing that.
Yeah. But to your point, right? It might be a good starting point, but to really build the wealth the way I want to, I need to be able to leverage the MLS and other avenues to trade.
Yes.
Okay.
And doing that is real easy. You don't have to always be in contact with them. You don't have to work.
Right.
It's just coming into your email, and every morning you're just doing your work.
Right.
Yo. Okay. Now, question to you, man. How you doing with time?
Better. Not taking DJ gigs frees up some time. And the thing I was doing at F45, I am outsourcing that more. So I'm just managing it.
Got you.
I'm getting to the point where I'm just managing it, let me say.
Got you.
So that'll give me my Saturdays back. I'm trying to get more of that Saturday morning time back. So that Saturday morning, I throw one of the kids in the car, give them a list, kind of like we talked about, and just check this off, check that off, check that off.
Got you. You over there practicing the E-myth. You know what the E-myth is? The entrepreneur myth. So there's 3 types of entrepreneurs.
Yes, we talked about this before, but go ahead.
Yeah. So you got the technician.
Yep.
And you got the manager. And you got the entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So like you were the DJ.
Yeah.
And so now you're managing the DJs.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might have to come in, but you're making money without being there now.
Yeah. So it's funny. I had to do that yesterday. Somebody, and it's my fault. Somebody had agreed to do one of the days for me. As I was giving him information the last day, I don't know how I did this, but I just forgot to tell him that the hours are different at this place versus the other place. So he thought he was doing 3 hours. Turns out he was doing 4. And so he was like, 4 hours for that amount of money and I got to drive an hour. Doesn't really make sense. So I was like, okay. But I had to throw the stuff in the car, go out there and do it and come back. So yeah, it's a different headache. It is. It's a different headache, but it just reinforces what we've talked about, right? Like I have to get more of my time back.
Got you. And I think that we have to know, you know, in general that you making this crossover to try to go invest is for you to really get your time back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that people think that you're solely working for money. I think that we're working for money too. Money is the tool that we use to get our time back.
Yeah, money is just the currency that the world has accepted, right? Whatever currency the world would have accepted, I'd be working for that,
right?
Because I want the freedom to do what I want to do with my time, right? That was the whole reason we did what we did with the house. Like people thought we were crazy because they're like, oh man, you guys put so much work into the house. It looks great, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, right, but show me where I can get $212,000 back. You show me another avenue where I can do that. I'll gladly keep the house and you know what I mean? So on the journey to, let's say $10 million, make up a number, right? on the journey to $10 million, I'm not going to stare at $212,000 in the face and say, well, I'm not going to make $212,000 today because I really, really like my house. But again, whatever the currency is, it wouldn't matter. Whatever I would have to do to get to the point where not only I have my time back, but I can enjoy my family, that's what I would be doing.
What's your take on people who always talk down on 9-to-5 workers and employees versus pursuing entrepreneurship?
Yeah, it's funny to me because I almost want to ask those people what they actually do. Like, if they were working a 9-to-5 before they went, what were they doing? I know a lot of people that make well into six figures. And if we're being transparent, I'm blessed to be in a position where I do that.
He got some money, y'all.
I don't know about all that, but in my head, I'm saying you couldn't be making that much. In my head, if I'm being completely honest, I'm not saying everybody out there that's saying that isn't making way more than I do. But if we're talking about the person who, there's some people I know in the Indianapolis community that are preaching that message.
Oh, I'm taking this. This is going to be a clip. Let's go. Let's go. We're taking this clip. Like, we're starting trouble.
There are some people in the Indianapolis community that I know that are preaching that message. And no real formal education to speak of beyond high school. No secondary education to speak of. No 15 to 20 plus year career at a particular point to really get to a point where they're making significant amount of money. So I'm like, you're saying this to people that are making and struggling to really get by. Yet you've not excelled enough in a career field to get to the point where you're making $80, $90, $100, $235,000 a year. So your perspective on this conversation is very, very limited. As someone who's gone from, making 40 to, like I said, into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's not as straightforward to walk away from that.
Right. So I hear two things.
Okay.
I hear what you just said in the sense of it's very difficult to walk away from a six-figure income job,
right,
to transition into doing your own thing.
Right.
In essence, it might be easier because you have the capital and the support to start that.
One would think.
You know what I'm saying? Explain.
So people assume you have the capital because you make X amount of dollars.
But your lifestyle.
Not even that. It's not even that. It's also for a 10-year period, I chose to pay off debt. So we're financially solvent from that perspective, right? So like, I don't have a car payment, but that was 10 years of work. So while I make a great salary, a lot of that has been put to use in that way. So we're just now getting to the point where we actually see that money and figuring out what to do with it. But even then, it goes to investing. So it's not like I'm not sitting at home with a bunch of money in my hand saying, "Ooh, look at me." It's we live off this portion and we're constantly looking at how do we shrink that, and then we're investing on top of that and saving. Because I got 3 kids I got to put to college, I got weddings I got to pay for, I got first cars I got to buy. Right, like a lot of that money's already accounted for. So just because someone makes X, it doesn't mean they get to spend it. It just means that money has to be allocated to figure out, now how do I like we talked about, right? How do I get to the point where I'm not worried about what my retirement's going to look like?
Got you. The other thing I heard you say is the people that you hear speaking like this don't got enough receipts to talk like that.
I don't, the rooms I'm in, they're not there. And I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm some super duper dude.
I am. Fuck y'all. I am.
But if you're gonna be preaching super strong talk, the people that I know that are 20, 25, 30 years ahead of me, I see them in the same rooms. The conversations are very similar. We know a lot of the same, and I'm just getting started. So I'm like, I know the route I took to get there. I know the route you took to get there. I don't know what these other people are doing to lend credibility to their discussion.
Social media.
But I also don't see them. And I don't see where that expertise has come from. So to me, it's like, where's the proof that says your 9 to 5 doesn't make sense?
Got you. All right. So
especially when we account for stuff like healthcare benefits. Like if you're a 40-hour a week employee, if you're working full time for somebody and they're paying benefits,
it's huge.
You don't know the cost of that.
I do.
Right.
It's $15,000 a year
per
for
person.
me.
Right.
No, for me, like
Just
my
for
kids
you?
is $15,000.
Right. That's what I said,
crazy.
per person, right? So I'm married and I've got 3 kids. Yeah. So it's 15,000 times 5. So I got to figure out how to make a salary, or I got to figure out how to make up what my salary is plus benefits.
Got you. So, like, yeah, let's dive into this a little bit more. I feel though there's a fear though.
For me?
Like just in general.
What do you mean?
Like so everybody, let me articulate my question a little bit better. I feel like the security that the 9 to 5 gives you with benefits, such as, we just talked about health insurance, and just all the other different things, whether it be tuition reimbursement, all the different things that entrepreneurship does not give you because you got to go out there and get it. Yeah. I think that, when you look at the numbers, it's scary, but I look at it like this, and you could let me know how you feel. This is just for a conversation for people to hear.
Yeah.
I feel that some individuals, not all, because we do need specialists. We need doctors. We need dentists. We need architects. We need that went to school and actually know their math and know their algebra and trigonometry and all that, right? That we need that. Otherwise, this building could collapse. We need that, right? But I feel like there's other individuals though that have natural instincts. They have natural God-given talents. I feel like a lot of them go through life with those skill sets and talents, and that fear stops them from pursuing their own dream, and they end up building somebody else's dream. So, could you talk about that fear? Do you have it? Do you see people with it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's talk about that.
Yeah. So a couple different parts there. I want to make sure I'm precise in how I'm answering. I had that fear at one point, and then I realized, the thing to really be afraid of is the sobering reality that it is very difficult to make enough in salary-based income to take care of yourself for the rest of your life. Salary jobs are, in that context, are fool's gold.
Talk about that.
You live on, let's say somebody makes 100% of whatever they make, right? Some people, let's pretend everybody subscribes to the 80-20 rule, right?
Give me a number though. Give me a number.
So let's say $100,000. Like let's say people make $100,000 just because it's easy math. If the 80-20 rule is in play, I'm supposed to live on 80% of that, and I'm supposed to save and give that other 20%, right? So if that's the case and I'm living on 80%, your company at $100,000 is going to do a 5% match on your 401k. Mm-hmm. So if you live on 80% and you save 5% and then they match it, that gets us roughly 10, right? Mm-hmm. How, if you're living on 80 and you're saving 10% a year for however long you work, when it's time to live and you don't have that 80% coming in anymore, you're assuming that what you saved over those years at 5% with a 5% match is going to be enough. How did that happen? If I live on 80, how did saving 10 turn into a replacement for the 80? And we see it played out all the time. People end up downsizing their homes. They end up scaling back their life. And then the problem is my health costs go up and up and up. And I'm not insurable at the same rate that I was when I was 25, 30. That's why I say it's fool's gold, right? There's not enough money in most jobs, unless we're talking like VP, senior level, right? There's just not enough money in a mid-level manager down job to sustain the lifestyle you create when you're earning at your highest potential. That's why I say it's fool's gold.
And that's why everybody needs to go to entrepreneur.com and everybody needs to go ahead and get free rental properties and learn how to get free rental properties to build their portfolio.
Bingo.
Therefore, that cash flow
Right.
can continue to come for the rest of their lives
Right.
as long as the asset is working for them.
And that's what I want to say this. We have oversold the concept of entrepreneurship in the 21st century.
Talk about that.
Like we've tried to convince people that being an entrepreneur is the flyest thing in the world.
Hell no. I'm in here on a fucking Sunday. Fuck
Right.
no.
Right. And I'm not saying that we need to. I just think we've gone to an extreme with the pendulum, right? Where we're trying to convince everybody.
Hey Jackson, you know this shit is hell. like shit. I'm so sorry. Just because I literally had this conversation with him on Friday. It was just like, man, this is a nightmare right now. I can't hire an ant to work for me. and literally like it's been tough.
Yeah.
But I was like, but people will see that I was out fine dinners, that I was out gambling and playing Russian roulette. But it's just like, but me and him in here, like, we're having a conversation about our new org chart and how we're going to do it, and how we're putting out time slots on how I'm gonna manage my time.
Right.
Because it's like, because we got a podcast on Sunday because I don't have time.
Right. But so like when I say we've gone to an extreme with it, right? It's we've now made everybody so insecure if they don't have some other thing that they're doing besides going to work.
Well, I get your point. So you're talking about entrepreneurship. I think that everybody needs multiple lines of streams
And that's exactly where I'm going. So but hold on, let me get there.
Okay.
I learned early on in my career how to hustle my way to a higher income. I am glad I did that first because it stabilized life for my wife and my kids to the point where we could say, hey, why don't you come home and be here for the home and for the kids? It gave us the option to do that, and our lifestyle didn't have to change. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with working a job to a point where you can actually sustain your lifestyle to a level where you're at least not worried about where your kids are playing and whether or not you're going to eat. What I'm talking about is over and above that. Now, how you gonna retire? How you gonna send your kids to school? And don't just rely on a 529 plan. Like what is your real plan to retire your mom? What is your real plan that in 25 years, you're not just relying on the idea that I paid off my mortgage? Like what? So now if we're talking about entrepreneurship from that perspective, yeah, get a side hustle, get something else going on. But we've made it this zero-sum game, this all or nothing absolute, where it's like, if you ain't no entrepreneur and you didn't leave your job, you ain't really doing nothing. I don't subscribe to that thinking, and here's why. Like I read Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich showed me of all the entrepreneurs that are talked about in that book, the hell that they go through, how long they go through that hell to build those companies. Mm-hmm. And then at the end, you know what they do? They turn around and hire leaders. And you know when they're hiring those leaders, who they look for? People with college educations.
Facts.
So everybody can't be the top dog entrepreneur. And I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying solely work a job and be happy with what you make. I'm saying work a job to make sure that you can sustain a level of living that you're comfortable with. Only you can decide that. But over and above that, there's going to come a time, I don't care who you are, where your labor for dollars is no longer valued the same way. You can be the highest level CEO. At some point, they're going to get a 40-year-old to replace you because they're cheaper. It's just what it is. So between now and then, what's your plan to not have to downsize? You can choose to downsize, but what is your plan to not have to downsize? That's where I think there's hustles and other opportunities that need to be introduced. But trying to convince everybody that if they don't leave their job, they ain't really doing nothing shows a lack of
consideration, maturity.
Not even consideration. It shows a ignorance towards the numbers that it really takes to replace some of those incomes.
Got you. And you know, that's why I think that we here at Entrepreneur to Entrepreneur offer, you know, a way, an avenue for us to build generational wealth. Not only that could bring the cash flow that can maintain your lifestyle while in retirement, but it could also be passed down to generations.
There you go.
You know what I mean? You know, like I've always told people that the retirement starter pack here in the Midwest, at least, is 5 rentals. If you could, you know, after expenses, you could get $1,000 per rental, you know, $5,000 is $60,000. Yeah. That doesn't make you rich, but you could pay your basic necessities here in the Midwest, in Indianapolis, Indiana, wherever you live at, you know, that could be adjusted accordingly. But I think that, you know, a lot of people don't realize that they get tax deductions through rental properties. And so people don't know how to calculate that, but you use the 27.5 rule. So let's say the property was worth $100,000, use the 27.5 rule. That's essentially
what is the 27.5 rule? You
divide your loan by 27.5 years.
Okay.
And then when you do that, you get a number, let's say it's 3,500. So it's 3,500 for that property. Let's say you had 5.
Yeah.
That's equivalent to $17,000. You won't have to pay taxes on the first $17,000 you make.
Ooh.
You pay taxes. So if you made $100,000 that year, you would subtract $17,000. So you would pay taxes on the $83,000.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's a benefit that rental properties give you that we don't account for. And that's how those guys who own, like Trump, own these large buildings, they're getting that benefit to a degree, and that's why they're not paying taxes on their income.
Right.
They're also buying houses on their 401k.
Yeah.
And therefore that revenue coming in is not income, therefore it's not taxed.
So I'd heard about it as a self-directed Roth IRA.
Right.
That was the first time I'd ever heard
right.
of that.
And or 401k. I have a self-directed 401k.
Okay.
Yep.
All
so
right.
I took it out to 401k because guess why? Somebody was managing it. They were making more from managing my 401k
you were making
than I was making on my return.
So Tony Robbins talks about that in Money Master the Game, right?
Yeah.
He broke down in specific examples where the management fees for certain investment houses, I shouldn't say houses because then it sounds like I'm talking about a property, but wealth management groups. The investment fees for certain wealth management groups plus the taxes you're going to pay in capital gains has you at a deficit. Sometimes it's like the ratio is like 4 to 1. They're making 4 to 1 for every dollar that you're making. So by the time you retire, you think you're going to have $500,000 to $1 million. You end up somewhere around $100,000 and $220,000, right?
And that's why I took my money out. So now with a self-directed 401k, I could buy properties, cash, wholesale them and or keep them. And if I keep them, the cash flow that's coming in, it's not taxed.
So let's talk about that, right? Because so one of the things that I've been able to do in IT is I did contract work in the IT space for a while. Contract just means you're not an employee of the company, you're a contractor. You're getting paid through another agency. That agency would set up a 401k for me. So I'd be there for a year, 2 years or whatever. Then I had to take that money and go put it somewhere else. So I would get like a check for, $8,000, $10,000, whatever it was. I just had to make sure I put it in this account.
Transferred it, right.
So now I've got money sitting in these accounts and I'm a permanent employee somewhere now. So that one's doing its own thing. I'd rather take that money, self-directed, and put it into a real estate portfolio. But this is the first time, like we've even talked about this. What would I do? What would be my first step in going from?
So I use Horizon Trust.
Okay.
I think you could call Horizon Trust and ask them literally, I need to know how a self-directed account works.
Okay.
A Roth and or IRA. You probably have to go into a 401k because you make over $110,000 a year.
Okay.
Anything under, you have to go into
I
IRA.
make more than $110,000.
Hey, bro, I think you told me that you make a lot of money, so I'm just going to assume.
That's what I said.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's where we at. So yes, so I would call a self-directed, 401k or IRA funder that manages those type of funds and ask them how it works.
Okay.
I'm not a professional at that, so I don't want to speak on that.
Yeah.
But
What made you decide to do it?
because of all the fees.
Yeah.
But what I would a great homework assignment. I think for the people, you should do an assignment of all the fees that go into it. And then when you come back with those numbers, you're going to be like, fuck that 401k.
So no, I'll do it because I know I already read the chapter in the book. I'll go to Money Master Game and bring it with me highlighted.
And just break
we
it
can
down.
walk through. Okay.
And I think that that's a way to empower others. And then when I manage mine, I get an annual fee. I get an annual fee and that's it.
Yeah. Okay.
So the advantage too is this. I mean, you got to think about the crazy amount of income being lost to taxes.
Yeah.
So imagine now having 50 houses.
Yeah.
If you had 50 houses and you earned $50,000 a month because of the rent collected,
Yeah.
in taxes, you're paying upwards of 35%.
Yeah.
So that means that you would pay $15,000 a month in taxes. Imagine keeping that times 12 months.
Right.
Because you didn't pay taxes because it was in a deferred account.
Yeah.
That's the impact that having a self-directed 401k could have on your savings. Now,
So that's the rosy side of it, right? Because you said deferred, which it is. So let's talk about when they come to collect, right? Because they do come to collect.
they do come to collect. So the Roth collects it on the way in.
Right.
The other kind
Collects it on
us on the way out.
Right.
You put the money in, it's not taxed.
Right.
So
But
it's accumulating in there.
tax free. Right. But when I hit retirement age, they're going to be taxing me.
It's tax free because it's Roth. Let's say you started off with you transferred 100 in. You was taxed when you brought it in from your paycheck stub. Once it's accumulating while it's in there, it's not taxed. So
Right.
when you get it out, you ain't paying taxes. You just got to wait till 100 or you got to wait till 59 and a half years old.
So wait, not even the capital gains?
Right. There's no capital gains because it's not a gain. It's not a personal gain. Yeah, that's where it gets real gangster.
How is that not considered a gain though? Right. And I mean, I know we're not, but I still want to talk through it.
Because it's not personal. It's a retirement account. It's not income.
Oh.
It's not income. It's a retirement account.
But stock investing, it's not a.
This is different than stock investing. It's a retirement account. Any retirement account.
Okay.
Because the income got taxed coming in.
So what we're talking, Okay. All right. Okay.
So let's go back though.
Yeah.
You have a salary.
Right.
You delegate that every month you're putting $1,000 into it.
Right.
When you put that $1,000 into it, you got taxed on your paycheck.
Right.
You've paid it when it's Roth. You got taxed on the front side.
Right.
Meaning today you paid whatever.
Right.
When you get it back out when you're 59 and a half,
Yeah.
you're not paying
I've
taxes.
already paid taxes.
Anything is accumulating between now and then, it's not taxed.
Yeah.
That's why I did what I did.
Yeah. Okay. I see you.
Yeah. But you got a little homework now. You know
Yeah. No, I'll get the fees. Because again, I know exactly what.
But I would also get counsel on that.
Yeah.
But once I learned that, it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. And then you're doing it, learning, and then as you get better as a real estate investor, you're just gonna do more with it.
Right.
But if you give it to somebody else,
Yeah.
all the fees. Yeah. So it's just self-directed. It's an option that we could take to maximize and leverage the tax system.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, man, that's good stuff. How does that is all of your real estate investing done through your self-directed 401k?
No.
How do you make that determination on what goes that way versus what doesn't?
So this would happen. I had it, and when I learned about that, I'm be honest. I only started investing into that when I was like 32.
Okay.
So
You're 52 now, so
dead. So I started maxing it out. Right. It is when I started maxing it out, I was putting 18,000 a year, but it was not a simple yet. It wasn't directed yet. Okay. It was just a regular 401k. I started maxing out at 18,000 a year. Yeah. And so when I learned, I only had like 50 in there, and I didn't feel like I could really do too much with it.
Yeah.
So an option for those who have self-directed 401ks and like, man, so like I can't really buy a house for $50,000. Well, you can lend with it. So a lot of people lend from that account, and I may lend you 80,000 or 100,000 at 10%. Now, in 6 months, that account earned 10% interest.
Yeah.
And that's how you could leverage it until you get it to where you buy properties where you want to.
How do you mitigate your risk on that though?
As far as like the loan?
Yeah.
All right. So if I lend you money
right
on a property that I am listed as a
I was trying to get you to, because
I'm listed as the mortgagee on that account. So let's say you have you're buying property 123 Main Street for $50,000. The repairs are 20,000. I lend you $70,000. You have a loan. I'm listed as the mortgagee. You die or you fail to pay me, I'll foreclose on the property and take the property back.
Yeah.
Now, let's say your ARV, on the property was 125. If something happens to you, you don't pay me back, I foreclose, I get the property now. I was only making 10% on 70,000, but now I could sell the property and make that 45,000 that you were going to make.
Yeah.
That's how I'm protected.
Gotcha.
When I land on real estate.
Gotcha. Okay.
Cool. Dre got some homework to do. And I think that we tapped into a new subject that we could expand on in the future. We could all do some homework. And I'm not a professional in that field. Therefore, there's somebody else I need to bring in for the podcast. Yeah. You know what I mean? And learn from. So I appreciate you tapping into another episode of First Generation Wealth Builders. That's a blooper right there. Make sure to tell a friend, man. It's tap in, like, share, comment, and don't forget to set your alerts. Therefore, you're notified every time we got a new episode. And I'll see you on the other side.